Hi, everybody. Part 4 of the Neurodevelopment of Learning. George Hirsch. Purpose of this presentation is really we're born with over 100 billion neurons. Those neurons make up a network. And if you're not familiar with, you have neurons that build synapses that connect the neurons. And so we are born with them, but they're not connected. So I'm George Hirsch again, husband, father, grandfather. I've talked a little bit about being dyslexic, and I guess you can say I'm ADHD. I have officially never been diagnosed with ADHD. I'm not a big label person, mainly because I think I've overcome most of my issues. I perform at pretty high levels. Feel like I've become more neurotypical than others, but and kind of maximizing my brain. So I've dedicated the last 30 years of my life discovering tools, strategies, resources that create extraordinary results and incredible levels of personal performance improvement. I've directly impacted the lives of thousands with my work in leadership, peak performance, self-improvement, neuroscience, neural pathways. So hopefully you get some sense that if you've listened to my stuff before, you know that the formal education isn't my strong suit. It's more of the hands-on, results-oriented base. So everything that I've done, I've gotten proven results from. I'm not a big, everybody preaches science. Multisensory is multisensory. It's pretty hard not to be learning. It's whether you can learn in those ways, whether your brain is wired in those ways. Science proves that we learn in those 3 ways mainly, and some people say there's 5, but primarily auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learning and we have a preference in each one of those. So science is great in saying that we have all those abilities, and we all have all those abilities, but you always have a preference in the way you like to learn or the way you learn. It's really how your brain is wired, how those 100 billion neurons are connected with your synaptic network. So it's great, and I'm not knocking science itself. I think what I'm knocking, and if you can hang your hat on one study or results that's independently done, verified, backed up by someone else, a third party, you will find that most of them aren't, because they're basically funded either by pharmaceutical companies or someone with some other intent to prove a point. So I believe in results. That's what I believe in. I believe in results and performing at your best. Not everybody's going to be the top of the class, but it doesn't mean you can't try. And it's the journey. At the end of the day, you can be the top of the class, and then there's another class. So it's the journey. So what we're going to cover today is the neurons processing information, synaptic mass networks of connection between neurons. And from ages 3 to 11, we grow and delete synapses at a very high rate of speed. So they're on the process. We're born with over 100 billion neurons. But at birth, we have very few synapses networks. The network isn't developed. That's the big thing that stimulation does. And if there's one thing, if you got young kids, it's stimulating their mind and stimulating, giving them controlled environments. That's the big thing is that every environment that you put your child in is stimulating that network to grow. Whether it's positive or negative, that's the thing. Whether it has a traumatic effect, that's the thing. And it's really kind of based on that environment you put it in. So environment does matter, and your kids are picking up all that information around you. So these synapses, they form massive networks of connections between neurons. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's like billions of connections to make a thought. You have trillions of these synapses. So you know, we spend childhood growing trillions of synapses to develop these functioning brains. So when people talk about executive function and then your core fight and flight and your reptilian brain, it's more hardwired because those things start out from birth. I mean, your survival from birth is important. Your education is developed based on stimulation and content and the environment you put your child in and how you develop them. Why do you think habits get formed? Why do you think that all professionals say read to your child, spend time with your child? Everything is about coaching, mentoring, developing your child, and the efforts that you put into doing that. The frustration gets down to is if they don't naturally grow or stimulate those neuron connections, and the synapses networks don't get developed properly, and then your child's struggling, and then you become a frustrated parent because you might have multiple children and one child develops faster than the other mentally and physically could be too, but it's always that frustration of parents. Some of it might be parents thinking age appropriateness. I always kind of preach that is you got to really think about age appropriateness. I see that over and over again, especially when you have, big kids or kids that mature fast. Expectations get to be unrealistic. So, our nerves develop over our childhood as our bodies develop, and it's a natural occurring thing. And so the more, cross function, the more you can get coordination developed. And even the most simplest things, if you look at all physical therapy for anybody that has developing functions, they're getting the mind and body connected, and they're doing cross pattern or cross functioning exercises, and they're all little subtle things, but you have to break them down for them to be able to do it. So it's doing the appropriate thing. So from age 3, we grow 700 synapses per second. It's so from birth to age 3, we grow 700 per second. It slows down eventually, but we're rapidly growing synapses. I was just at a meeting Saturday, and I saw a baby, and I think he was 5 months old, and I told his mom, I said, I just love watching kids, and you can see these firing. You can see them learning if you watch. You really have to pay attention to what they're doing. But it's like, hey, they can't do it, now they can do it. That's fascinating. Some people, eventually their kids they don't do it. They don't do it as fast as other people, as the competition in this world gets to be pretty fierce. So I'm not going to get into depth on everything today. I want to try to keep this video shorter than my other ones. I'm going to redo the other ones anyway. So from age 3 to 11, we grow and delete synapses at a high rate of speed. From 11 to 21, our brains keep growing, but go into efficiency mode by deleting a lot that we don't need. So the one thing that everybody talks about, well, and what that's the part that makes teenagers so nutty, but you do delete them, but you can grow more. The one thing that's become universal in all science is that our brain isn't fixed, that we're always growing these synapses, that these connections between neurons can grow and develop at any time, at any age. So it's kind of like our program. We work with our basic stuff at 5 and 6. Our main full program, we start at 7 and really start developing. We have some core exercises that 5 and 6-year-olds can do. They're really great to kind of give them a head start and to start building those connections. They still may need the full program, which the full program has all the basic plus all the rest of the exercises in them. But it's just something everybody can do, and everybody can grow and improve their performance. And I see this over and over again in the business world and education world and the athletic world. Is like people are trying to develop things, but they have to mentally get it first. So it's and the way they get it is they stress the brain and build the synapses. the truth of the matter is stress actually creates growth. So learning is stressful, and it's not fun sometimes, and that's when we get into overwhelm and shut things down. And as I talked about before, like the 3 R's, you start resisting something. You know, people talk about overwhelm and all these other things. It's truly when your brain shuts down, it pulls back. You can see it if you watch your kids, if you watch your husband or your spouse or your wife, they pull back, they resist, and they shut down. And everybody has their habits of protection. So so I've gone over this really quickly today, again, trying to shorten these up. So what we covered was the neuron process as information, and then the synapses form mass networks of connection between neurons. And from age 3 to 11, we grow and delete synapses at a high rate of speed. So, you know, now we've spent your childhood growing trillions of synapses, but the number one question of our system is asking, as we're growing, is still, am I safe? It's still going to say, am I safe or scared? So you've got to be aware that this flight or fight, freeze, or function, as I call it. So can you stay in that normal function even under duress? If you ever want to understand cognitive skills, of real cognitive skills of why it is a physical one-on-one experience, think of the military. If you're a military member, thank you for your service. Basic training is the military's experts at rewiring the brain to build a soldier, and they don't do it through putting them in a classroom. They do it through physically moving them around and mentally stressing their brain to withstand things that they would have to experience out in a battle. And they train them to be soldiers. They train them to be soldiers that actually can kill somebody and protect us and our freedom. So, you know, that is a mental shift in their brain to build those connections so that they can deal with the pain, the physical pain, the mental pain. Everybody struggles with it, and it's coming back around and having the PTSD when they come back from those experiences that the military is not good at transitioning people back in. Our program can help with that PTSD and anxiety and depression. All these things start getting relieved as the brain starts functioning, as I call it, hitting on all cylinders, because no matter what we do, no matter how we develop, it's still going to say, am I safe or am I scared? So again, I come back to all this. And then, you know, another one of the thoughts is when you're uncomfortable, think about what that uncomfortableness is. That's what, you know, your child can't stop his brain from saying, hey, why am I uncomfortable right now? And you want to give those resources and tools to do that. That's one of the great things about, you know, our program and what we do is that, you get to build a great experience instead of these bad experiences in the past. Strengthen our perceptions of threats and make us more likely to resist change and new ideas. So that's why one-on-one working with your child, the parents are the most effective. Grandparents are right there too, but parents, and I have to say that as a grandparent, I love working with my grandkids. But you have to realize that you working one-on-one is going to outweigh any type of therapy, any type of therapist, any type of program that you can send your child to. It's going to be way more effective because it's going to give them a great experience if you make it a great experience. You have to work hard at it. It takes a little effort on your part as a parent, but we have parents all the time, moms and dads. I would say 85–90% of our instructor people that are doing this with their kids are moms. Dads participate, but most of the time they leave it up to the moms, and the moms get to build incredible relationships with their children and strengthen their already incredible relationships, but they understand them better. They absolutely understand it better. So it's pretty fascinating how it all works. But so the next steps, you know, watch for the final video. We also have, you know, like us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We've got fairly big followings on all those, but there is a couple pages that I've got. I got one group that I've started. I'll probably start putting more content in there. Probably going to make either one of them specifically for people that have bought our full program so that we can have a little community of people. I have not done that yet, but I'm looking at it. I think it could help parents even help understand each other more. I go on these sites now that are in Facebook, and all I hear is a kind of a pity party, and moms, I want to help them. I've been on them for years, and I really want to reach out, but I know that everybody considers that spamming, and I have a hard enough time sending everybody emails like I'm doing with this, that I try not to spam people, but I understand some people don't like doing it. But everybody needs to get the word out, and we all need to help each other out. And I guess I need to set that aside and just try to help, because I've seen a lot of moms on there just wanting to help their children, and I know our program can help them, and I know most people don't know about it. We're trying to get the word out. So if you know a parent that has a child that's struggling or just isn't performing, we work with straight A students. We work with kids that are completely really mentally disabled. So anyway, really didn't try to make that a sales deal. Sorry about that. I look forward to finishing this series up. If you liked it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Either way, what you want to know, let me know. I'd love to have feedback on any of these videos and how I can give you more information to understand your child's struggles more. So until next time, have a blessed day.